Have you been following Jesus for years but failed to see any change? Now, in this current video series, we've been looking at Jesus' healing of the two blind men mentioned in Matthew chapter 9. Now, if you missed it, make sure you go back and watch the other videos so that you can get the full context on what we're talking about. The link will be in the description. So we've got two blind men who have heard about Jesus and his miracles. And even though they'd never seen him actually do miracles with their own two eyes, they'd heard enough to convince them that he was capable of fixing their impossible situation. Because faith comes by hearing. Now, here's something interesting that stands out to me about these two blind men. The scriptures tell us that these guys not only followed Jesus around, but they also cried out loud for him to have mercy on them. Now, don't miss that. These guys weren't satisfied with just following Jesus, hearing about all these amazing miracles that he'd done in other people's lives while remaining unchanged themselves. They refused to be those who hear about the miracles and talk about the miracles, whilst going back to live the exact same lives that they lived before following Jesus. But how about you, my bro or my sis? Have you settled for just following Jesus without experiencing any change whatsoever? And I'm not talking about the change of the fact that you now go to church once or twice a week, or the fact that your Instagram posts refer to scriptures every now and then, or even the fact that maybe you don't go to the clubs anymore. But I'm talking about that real change, that inner person change, the type of change that takes someone from being a persecutor and a killer of Christians to being one of the people who is at the forefront in preaching and teaching in the name of Jesus, the gospel of the kingdom. I'm talking about the change that sees you resisting that cycle of sin you were stuck in for years and learning how to better manage your emotions, your temptations, and to resist when those moments come. And don't get it twisted, I'm not talking about getting to a point of absolute perfection, but I'm talking about progressively changing, knowing that you're not the person you were yesterday and that tomorrow you're going to be different from you are today. Maybe you've been following Jesus for some time and there isn't really much noticeable change from the person you once were. Maybe you've tried to change in certain areas yourself and failed multiple times. And so you just accepted that maybe this is just how things will always be. Maybe you've lost hope in God's ability to do the impossible in some particular area. And maybe you're following Jesus blindly, not realizing that he's willing and able to restore your sight. Now, if that's you, then today's another chance for you to go beyond just following and cry out to God. Quit worrying about what others might say. Quit worrying about the 10 to 15 times you've tried before and failed. And quit accepting the lie that this is just how things will always be. And so my bro, my sis, have you been following Jesus for years but failed to see any change? Peace.